afternoon, everyone. Well, it finally happened. For centuries, explorers have searched for lost civilization. Atlantis, El Dorado, the Fountain of Youth. But apparently, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdami has discovered the greatest mystery of them all. Little Italy doesn't exist. At least that's what you might think after looking at the mayor's brand new map highlighting immigrant neighborhoods throughout New York City's 5 boroughs. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw this thing, I thought maybe Mayor Mamdami had been reading a little too much in history, because judging by this map, he may think he's Christopher Columbus, discovering neighborhoods that have been there all along. The only difference is Columbus accidentally landed in the wrong place. This map accidentally forgot some of the neighborhoods that helped build New York City. That's quite an accomplishment. Let's talk about what made the cut. Little Pakistan? Check. Little Bangladesh? Absolutely. Koreatown? Of course. Little Yemen? Yep. Several other immigrant communities? They're there too. But then New Yorkers started asking one simple question. Hey, what happened to Little Italy? You know, the neighborhoods that have been on postcards, travel brochures, movie sets, tourist guides, pizza commercials, and probably half of the refrigerated magnets sold in Times Square. Apparently, on this map, it became New York City's version of Atlantis. Gone. Finished. Lost to history. And while everyone was looking for Little Italy, people noticed something else. Historic Irish neighborhoods, missing. Historic Jewish neighborhoods, also missing. Now, before anybody starts sharpening their keyboards, let's be perfectly clear. No city map can include every neighborhood. New York City is enormous. There are hundreds of communities that contribute to its history. But when several well-known historical immigrant neighborhoods are absent from the map celebrating immigrant communities, people are going to notice. And notice they did. The backlash came quickly. Social media exploded. Editorials questioned the omission. Residents asked how neighborhoods whose immigrants helped build New York City could have been left off the map celebrating the city's immigration story. Because here's the thing. New York wasn't built on one generation, or one nationality, or one wave of immigrants. It was built by waves after waves after waves. Irish immigrants, Italian immigrants, Jewish immigrants, German immigrants, Polish immigrants, Chinese immigrants, Dominican immigrants, Puerto Rican communities, Caribbean communities, South Asian communities, Middle Eastern communities, African communities, and countless others. And that's what makes New York, New York. Then came the explanation. Mayor Mamdami responded by saying the map was never intended to be exhaustive. He said it would continue to be updated, and he also noted that the project actually began under the administration of former Mayor Eric Adams. Well, that's one way to handle the political controversy. It's a little like borrowing your neighbor's lawnmower, running it over the flower bed, then saying, well, technically, he bought the mower, or crashed someone's car and explaining, hey, I didn't design the brakes. That's certainly a defense. Whether it's a convincing one, well, I'll let New Yorkers decide that. Of course, after the criticism, the administration said Little Italy would eventually be added. Which raises another question. How exactly do you forget Little Italy from New York City? That's like making a map of Paris and forgetting the Eiffel Tower. Making a map of Philadelphia and leaving the Liberty Bell out. Making a map of Washington and saying, wait, there's a White House? Now, here's where the satire begins. Maybe this wasn't a political controversy at all. Maybe Mayor Mamdami was simply creating a New York City's first ever Where's Waldo edition of municipal government. Congratulations, everyone. You found the Little Bangladesh. You found Koreatown. Now see if you can locate Little Italy. Difficulty level? Impossible. Or perhaps this was all part of a tourism campaign. Visit New York City, where neighborhoods appear in the future update. Maybe next month we'll discover Chinatown. Then 6 months later, somebody accidentally stumbles across the Bronx. Look, political leaders are going to make mistakes. Maps get revised, projects evolve, that's normal. But when maps celebrating immigrant communities sparks questions about who was included and who wasn't, people have every right to ask the questions. They also have every right to expect clear answers. Because New York City's story isn't about one community. It's the story of generations of immigrants from every corner of the world helping to build one of the greatest cities on earth. That history belongs to everyone, not just whoever happened to be the latest map. And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. When you try to tell New York City's story, you'd better remember all the chapters. Otherwise, someone is going to remind you, usually very loud, and probably with a slice of pizza in one hand and a cannoli in the other. For Englebrook Independent News, I'm Haylee Ficuciello, and remember, before unveiling your next official city map, it might be worth asking New York City cab drivers to look over it first. They probably forgot less about New York than most politicians will ever know. Good night.